श्री गोस्वामी महाराज की
जय
नंद गौड़ी वैष्णव वृंद की
जय
नवाचार्य दास ठाकुर की
जय
प्रेम से कहो श्री चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री द्वैत वासादि गौर महाराज की यदा गो प्रेमानंदे
हरि बोल।
devotees, all very assembled devotees.
Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते
Namo Bhagavate
वासुदेवाय।
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते
Om Namo
देवाय।
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1 Creation, Chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam, verses 26 to 28. 26. Tatraन्वहं कृष्णकदाः प्रागयताम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वहं मनोहराः ता श्रद्धया मे अनुपदं विशृण्वदां प्रियसवसि अङ्गा ममा भव रुचि तत्रान्वहं कृष्णकदाः प्रगायताम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वं मनोहराः ताः श्रद्धया ते मे अनुपदं विशृण्वदां प्रियशवस्यङ्गा ममा भवद्रुचि तत्रान्वहं कृष्णकदाः प्रगायताम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वं मनोहरां ताः श्रद्धा मे अनुपदं विशृण्वदां प्रियशवसङ्गा माम् अभवत् रुचिः शैलजा जी।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatra Annaham Krishna Kada Pragayada Manugrihena Shrunavam Manohara Ta Sraddhaya Menupatam Vishrunada Priyasravasyangamama Abhavadrujihi Bhavadruji.
शैलजा जी।
हरे कृष्ण। तत्रान्वहं कृष्ण कथाः प्रगायताम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वन् मनोहरा ता श्रद्धया मे अनुपदं वैष्णवतः प्रियाश्रवसी अंगा मम भवत् रुचिः। हरे कृष्ण। प्रभु जी।
Yes, please.
Tatra, thereupon, Anu, every day, Aham, I, Krishna Kataha, narration of Lord Krishna's activities, Pragayatam, describing, Anugrahena, by causeless mercy, Ashranavam, giving oral reception, Manaha, Haraha, attractive, Taha, those, Shraddaya, respectful, me, may, unto me, Anupadam, every step, Vishrinvatah, hearing attentively, Priya Shravasi, of the personality of Godhead, Anga, O Vyasadeva, Mama, mind, Abhavat, it so became, Ruchihi, taste. Translation: O Vyasadeva, in that association, and by the mercy of those great Vedantists, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna. And thus, listening attentively, my taste for hearing of the personality of Godhead increased at every step. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Lord Shri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is attractive not only in his personal features, but also in his transcendental activities. It is so because the absolute is absolute by his name, fame, form, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, etc. The Lord descends on this material world out of his causeless mercy and displays his various transcendental pastime as a human being, so that human beings attracted towards him become able to go back to Godhead. Men are naturally apt to hear histories and narrations of various personalities performing mundane activities without knowing that by such association one simply wastes valuable time and also becomes addicted to the three qualities of mundane nature. Instead of wasting time, one can get spiritual success by turning his attention to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. By hearing the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, one contacts directly the personality of Godhead, and as explained before, by hearing about the personality of Godhead from within, all accumulated sins of the mundane creatures are cleared. Thus, being cleared of all sins, the hearer gradually becomes liberated from mundane associations and become attracted to the features of the Lord. Narada Muni has just explained this by his personal experience. The whole idea is that simply by hearing about the Lord's pastime, one can become one of the associates of the Lord. Narada Muni has eternal life, unlimited knowledge, and unfathomed bliss, and he can travel all over the material and spiritual world without restriction. One can attain to the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord from the right sources, as Sri Narada heard them from the pure devotees, Bhakti Vedantas, in his previous life. This process of hearing in the association of the devotees is especially recommended in this age of quarrels, Kali. Hare Krishna.
Verse 27. तस्मिन् सदा लब्धरुचेर्महामदे प्रियश्रवस्याखिला मतिर्ममाम् यया ययाहं sorry ययाहम् एतत् सदसत्स्वमायया पश्ये मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे तस्मिन् तदा लब्धरुचेर्महामदे प्रियश्रवस्य अखिला अस्खलिता मतिर्ममाम् ययाहम् एतत् सदसत्स्वमायया पश्ये मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे तस्मिन् सदा लब्धहरे महामते लब्धरुचेर्महामते प्रियश्रवसि अस्खलिता मतिर्ममाम् ययाहम् एतत् सदसत्स्वमायया पश्ये मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे शैलजा माता जी
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तस्मिन् सदा लब्धरुचेर्महामुने प्रियश्रवस्य स्खलिता मतिर्मम ययाहम् एतत् सुमायया पश्ये मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण yes Melinda Maji
Hare Krishna. Tasmin stada labdha rucher mahamate प्रियश्रवसि अस्खलिता मतिर्मम ययाहम् एतद् सद् असत् स्वमायया पश्य पश्ये मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे.
right
Tasmin,
yes yes
Tasmin, it being so, tada, at that time, labdha, achieved, rucheha, taste, mahamate, O great sage, priya shravasi, upon the Lord, askhalita, matihi, uninterrupted attention, mama, mine, yaya, by which, aham, I, etat, all these, sat asat, gross and subtle, swa mayaya, one's own ignorance, pashye, see, mai, in me, brahmani, the supreme, kalpitam, is accepted, pare, in the transcendent. Translation: O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Ignorance in material existence is compared to darkness, and in all Vedic literatures, the personality of Godhead is compared to the sun. Wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of the Lord's pastimes itself, transcendental association with Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and his transcendental pastimes. To become associated with the supreme light is to dissipate all ignorance. By ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly thinks that both he and the Lord are products of material nature. But in fact, the personality of Godhead and the living beings are transcendental and they have nothing to do with the material nature. When ignorance is removed and it is perfectly realized that there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, then nescience is removed. Since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross body should be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, as in bringing water, cleansing the temple, or making obeisances, etc. The path of archana, or worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting his name, etc. All such activities are transcendental. None of the gross or subtle senses should otherwise be engaged. Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead, as it was developed in Narada Muni, by hearing is highly effective. Hare Krishna.
Right. Verse 28. Itam sharad pravikshe ruduhrer Vishunnado so anusuvam yashomalam Sangirtyamanam munibir mahabir Bhakti prataparvatma Itam sharad pravishyagavar rudurher Vishunnado me anusukham yashomalam Sangirtyamanam munibir mahatmabhi Bhakti pravurtatma rajastabo maham Itam sharat pravushaksho rudu hare Vishunnado me anusavam yashomalam Sangirtyamanam munibir mahatmabhi Bhakti pravurtatma rajastamopaham Sharajamaji. Sharajamaji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Idham Sharat Pravarshika Vrudo Hare Vishnunnado Menu Savam Yasho Malam Sankirtyamanam Munibir Mahal Abhir Bhakti Pravurta Marajastamo Baha. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Brindamaji.
Hare Krishna. Itham Sharad Pravrishikav Ritu Harir Vishranvato me Anuswavam Yasho Malam Sankirtyamanam Munibhir Mahatmabhir Bhaktihi Pravrittatma Rajas Tamopaha. Hare Krishna. Itham, thus, Sharad, autumn, Pravrishikau, rainy season, Ritu, two season, Hare, of the Lord, Vishranvataha, continuously hearing, me, myself, Anusavam, constantly, Yashaha, Amalam, unadulterated glories, Sankirtya Manam, chanted by Munibihi, the great sages, Maha Atmabhi, great souls, Bhakti, devotional service, Pravritta, began to flow, Atma, living being, Raja, mode of passion, Tama, mode of ignorance, Upaha, vanishing. Translation. Thus, during two seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great souled sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of the Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotional service began, the coverings of the mode of passion and ignorance vanished. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Transcendental loving service for the Supreme Lord is the natural inclination of every living being. The instinct is dormant in everyone, but due to the association of material nature, the modes of passion and ignorance cover this from time immemorial. If, by the grace of the Lord and the great souled devotees of the Lord, a living being becomes fortunate enough to associate with the unadulterated devotees of the Lord and gets a chance to hear the unadulterated glories of the Lord, certainly the flow of devotional service takes place like the flow of a river. As the river flows on till she reaches the sea, similarly, pure devotional service flows by the association of pure devotees till it reaches the ultimate goal, namely, transcendental love of God. Such a flow of devotional service cannot stop On the contrary, it increases more and more without limitation. The flow of devotional service is so potent that any onlooker also becomes liberated from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. These two qualities of nature are thus removed, and the living being is liberated, being situated in his original position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya
शलाकया
Urmilambena
चक्षुरुन्मीलितं
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Savidam Bhutale
भूतले
Bhagavadamahyam Dadadi Swapadandigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udavadagamalam Shri Vaishnavamsa Virubam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanvidam Tam Saji Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasaidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvidam Sam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktisiddhanta
Saraswate Namane.
Shri Vashabhanavi Devi Daityaya Kribabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanadayine Prabhave Namah Madhuryo Jalapremadhyam Shri Rupanuga Bhaktidam Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastude Namaste Gavani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Avasiddhanta Dvandaharine Namo Gaurakishoraya Sachal Vairagyamurtaye Vipralambra Padambuje Namaha Namo Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaurashakti Surupaya Rupanugavarayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumestam Deshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhaumo Shri Jagannadhaya Te Namaha Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Echai Go Shai Kori Charan Bandhan Jahamotanash Avishtabu Vancha Kat Jai Vancha Kalpadruvasya Kripa Sindhuvi Evacha Patidanam Pavan
Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha.
Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Panchatattvam Krishna Bhaktarupa Surupagam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktigam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagalpade Govesha Gopiga Kanda Radha Vedam Sarado Pango Mama Mandamade Gade Mat Sarvasubhada Dojo Radha Madanamohan Divya Grundaran Kalpadramadam Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Preshthalevi Sevyamano Smarami Sriman Rasarasarambi Vamshi Vadat Tadastidha Kashan Ben Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhan Sude Devi Pranamami Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Ram
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram Ram Ram
Ram
Ram
Hare Hare
तत्वान्नहं कृष्णकदाहां प्रगायदाम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वं मनोहरां ताश्रद्धया मे अनुपदं विशृण्वदहां प्रियश्रवस्यङ्गा मम अभवद्रुजी O Vyasadeva, in that association, and by the mercy of those great Vedantis, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna, and thus listening attentively, my taste for hearing of the personality of Godhead increased at every step. So, Srila Narada Deva is describing his progress in devotion life, how he became a devotee by the mercy of Bhakti Vedantis, who had very mercifully agreed to stay in the house for the 4 months, the Chaturmasya time. And Sri Narada is describing how he developed that bhakti slowly, step by step, in a very transcendental process. Bhakti is transcendental. The process of bhakti is also transcendental. All of the processes are by our own effort. So it is not purely transcendental. It is not directly connected to Krishna. Since it is not directly connected to Krishna, it's not transcendental. In case of bhakti, bhakti can be developed only by mercy of pure devotees. You cannot get Krishna. Krishna says in Harivamsha, those who call me devotee are not my devotees. Those who call me, they are the servants of my devotees, are actually my devotees. So we always have this the feeling of Dasa Anudasa. Kulashekara Perumal, in his famous Mudha Mala Stotra, very clearly says, if you consider me as the servant of a servant of a servant of a servant of a servant, then I am very happy. So it's always like that. The process is very transcendental. It is transferred from a very self-realized, pure devotee. He imparts that devotion into the heart. And how did this devotee get the devotion? From the heart of Krishna. Originally, Bhakti Devi resides in the heart of Krishna. And Bhakti Devi decides that this person is eligible to receive bhakti, then she manifests herself in the heart of the devotees. That's why we have a great reverence for Tulasi Maharani. Every day we sing this kirtan, glorifying Tulasi Maharani. Vrindamaji, I don't think you'll have time for this, no? The Mangalarati and all that.
No, Prabhuji, I attend it every morning, 4:30.
Go.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Online.
Yes, 4:30. Sir.
Temple?
Sorry?
Which temple?
Mangalore.
Bangalore. Mangalore,
Mangalore, yeah.
Good. So 4:30 to up to 7 o'clock, huh?
No, the Tulsi, I only attend till Tulsi Aarti, and also they do this Shista, what is that called?
The Guru Puja, Singara,
Shishtakam or something, I don't know what it's called.
Shashtakam.
Shishta, I can't pronounce it properly. So yeah.
See what the procedure is. Start with the Mangalarati, that Samsara Davan.
Yes.
Then next you have the Narasimha Arati.
Yes.
And then next you have Tulasi Arati.
Yeah.
Then immediately following, we recite in Vrindavan and all that. We also do here. 3 months, every 3 months we rotate it. We start with Brahma Samhita. And then next is Shri Shashtakam. Third one is we have Shad Goswami Ashtakam. And then the fourth one, Prabhupada Stotram.
Okay.
3 months rotate. Then we recite the certain offenses.
Yeah, 10 offenses is last. Yeah. After that,
4:30 to 5:15 will go. In here we start only by 5 o'clock only. 4:30 is a normal time for temples. So 4:30 to 5:15 goes, and then from 5:15 to up to 7 o'clock the chanting will be there. 5:15, some announcement will be there. That means 5:30 to 7 o'clock chanting. Then 7 o'clock starts the Shringara Arati, followed by Guru Puja. So that'll be 8 o'clock. From 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is the schedule that is followed in ISKCON all over the world. Morning 4:30 to morning 9 o'clock.
Yes, Prabhuji. I do the chanting after that, Prabhuji, but after the 10 offenses, right? After that is read, I chant at home. Then I disconnect and I chant independently.
Yes. That is supposed to be. Anyway, you're working, still you're finding time for this. It's very, very nice. Good. That's a way to develop devotion.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
And so, Narada ji is here saying and telling Vyasadeva how when he was in his previous life, in the previous kalpa, he was a son of a maid servant, and fortunately, one season, many some Bhakti Vedantis came for 4 months and stayed with them, and he got an opportunity to serve them. Because he got an opportunity to serve them, and because they were pleased with their service, they blessed him mercifully. And though he developed the many qualities, and with that many qualities, he was able to listen properly. It is given in verse 24. Te maya apedakila chabale rbage dande dridansage anuvartini chakshu kribam yadyabi tulya darshina shushushamane munayo alpavashni. So these qualities were developed by Narada because of the blessings from the mercy of Bhaktivedanta, and because of that, he was able to relish the taste. How? By Uchishta, they allowed him, because serving and they got the Bhaktivedanta permitted him the remnants of water after they had eaten. Remnants were eaten by Narada Muni. This is Uchishtalevana Anumodido Dujaihi. Anumodido means permitted. When they permitted, the Uchishta means remnants. A remnants of stuff. He ate it, and then what happened? Sagatsma Unje Tat Avashadakil Bishi. All these sins were at once eradicated. And then what? Evam Pravatasya Vishuddha Chedasa, with his pure intelligence, pure consciousness. Tad dharma evatma ruchi prajayade. I developed a taste for tad dharma. Tad dharma is Bhagavad Dharma, which is narrations of the pastimes of Krishna, starting the Navadha Bhakti. So unless we develop the taste, there is we will not be very stably placed. If you want to be stable, first is Nishta is there, but after Nishta comes the Ruchi. Once we have this Ruchi, once we have developed this taste for chanting, seeing the form of Krishna in the temples, seeing the Arati, and then hearing about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, you have to release this taste. And this taste will be developed on a regular basis, like you are doing now. Morning 5:30, there's a schedule. And if you stick to the schedule, naturally all these things will be happening. Your mind, consciousness will be pure and pure every day. And it is said that this Bhaktivedanta used to describe attractive Krishna stories every day in these 4 months. And because of that, he developed the taste for Krishna Katha. Srila Prabhupada in his purport says that sometimes it happens that there may be some persons who may pretend to be attracted by the narrations of Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form, Krishna's name, Krishna's pastimes, paraphernalia, his dharma, his associates. Everything is absolute. Everything concerned about Krishna is absolute, means it is transcendental. It is nothing is material. Krishna, there is not even a shade of matter in Krishna. Everything is transcendent about Krishna. And when everything is transcendent about Krishna, then we'll reach a point. You see that everything is connected to Krishna only. Nothing, there is nothing other than Krishna. And then you develop this taste. But persons who are not able to do that, who are not really reading about Krishna, hearing about pastimes through sajjanas, Mahajans like these Bhakti Vedantas, they pretend to be in very ecstatic mood. They pretend to be very ecstatic. They have liberated soul, ecstatic, and they are always in the transcendental mood, always seeing Krishna eye to eye. They make a big pretension. These people are called Sahajiyas. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, verse 24. I've quoted in that group also already. Tadashmasaram hridayam badedam yad grihyamaner harinamadheyai na vikriyedadha yado vigaro netre jalam gatarruheshu harsha. Certainly, that heart is steel framed. Ashmasara means steel framed, hridayam. Ashmasaram hridayam. Certainly, that heart is steel framed, which, in spite of once chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change. When ecstasy takes place, tears fill the eyes and hairs stand on end. So, gradually, we develop a taste for Krishna. Very gradually, slowly, with association of devotees and pure devotees, we develop the taste. And once the taste is obtained, then we reach that stage of bhava, just the stage before bhava.
Prabhuji, I have one question. You
Yes.
mentioned Bhakti Devi in the heart of Krishna, and then you mentioned Tulsi Maharani. Are they related?
Bhakti is Tulasi only.
Bhakti Devi is Tulsi Maharani.
Tulasi only.
Okay, okay. And what is Bhakti Vedanta meaning, Prabhuji?
Vedanta is actually Vedanta. Vedanta means person who is very thorough with Vedanta Sutra.
Okay.
Vedanta is the highest of Vedas. You know, we have these Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas.
Yes.
And this Vedanta Sutra, otherwise also known as Brahma Sutra, was composed by Vyasadeva only. Few times you
This
have mentioned
four Vedams, no? Vedanta means
Vedanta means ultimate. Anda means Veda means knowledge. Anda means ultimate. So
end of
Vedanta,
the Ved,
huh?
end of the Vedas, no?
Not
Vedanta
end,
means
not end. I mean, end means ultimate.
ultimate.
Ultimate. Vedanta, Anda means ultimate here. Ultimate knowledge. Vedanta means ultimate knowledge. That is coming in 4 chapters. And I have sometimes told you the purpose of Vedanta is 3 things. That is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Okay, this is Vedanta Sutra, otherwise known as Brahma Sutra. So, a person who is supposed to be the highest Vedantis when he has actually understood the Vedanta Sutra.
Okay.
Normally, Shankaracharya has written a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is called Sharirika Bhasha, and that is most popular. And in the Sharirika Bhasha, Shankaracharya has described the absolute truth in very impersonal terms, saying that it's only universal consciousness only. He has formulated this his Siddhanta based on misrepresentation of facts of Vedanta. This is highlighted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his conversation with Prakashananda Saraswati, which is coming in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 7th chapter. So, actual understanding of Vedanta Sutra is that every verse in Vedanta Sutra is connected to Sambandha, which means establishing our lost connection with Krishna. Abhideya means acting on that knowledge, which is devotion service. And third one is prayojana. Prayojana means the ultimate benefit, which is developing Krishna prema. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu establishes that actually Vedanta could be understood only by pure devotee only. So to differentiate the Vedanta, they call these impersonalists, Mayavadis, they say they are Vedantis. Vedantis, they say they are Advaitins or Vedantis. To distinguish the impersonal Mayavadi Vedantis from the Bhakti Vedantis, we have formed the term Bhakti Vedanta.
Okay.
So all our acharyas are known as Bhakti. For example, our Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So this verse, particular verse, Vishnu Chakravarti says that even after chanting, I mean, so many times, so many malas every day, even then sometimes some reaction may not take because of offenses only. Mainly because of offense, name offenses, Vaishnava Ninda. The first offense is Vaishnava Ninda only, isn't it? Blaspheming the devotees who are sacrifice all their life for spreading Krishna consciousness. The first offense. So, if the devotee is not very careful about evading the 10 kinds of offenses at the fear of the holy name, then certainly the reaction of feelings of separation will not be visible by tears. The tears and all time is separation only. This is called Vipralamba Bhava. Have you heard this term Vipralamba?
Yes.
No, Prabhuji, I haven't.
No, every day we are singing the glory of Gauri Krishna Baba. Namam Bhakti Namaste Bhakti Gauri Krishna Bhakti Vairagya Murte Vipralamba Rasambode Vipralamba Rasa. Vipralamba means in separation. When the lovers join, yes, they feel very happy. But when they are separated, they enjoy more. Actually, it is agonizing thing, but it is more enjoyable. Like for example, suppose husband is working in Dubai, then wife in foreign country, and they'll feel having a feeling of separation. Suppose they are together, the fondness will be there, but that will not be very intense. But when they are separated, the feelings become very intense. That's why when Krishna went away from Vrindavan, the feelings of Gopi is described as Vipralamba Bhava. So, Vipralamba Bhava is considered the highest of all emotion, of all the bhavas. And Srimati Radharani is associated with that bhava only. So, but what happens is here, the person is committing so many offenses. So, this Vipralamba Bhava manifested by tears, the hair standing on end, all those Ashta-Sattviga Bhava. Ashta-Sattviga Bhava is we have described what is Ashta-Sattviga Bhava. That is manifested in the body of a real devotee who is in the Bhava state. But the person, Sahajiya, he is actually a person who is cheater, a pretender. Actually, he is having very offensive type of life. Not at all regarding, having concern for regulations, living for sense gratification, all those things. But they pretends to have, somehow is able to imitate these pure devotees by shedding tears, that hair standing on the end, etc., etc. But an expert devotee can easily understand that this person is fake only, is only pretender. Vishwan Chakravarti says the pseudo symptoms are at once detected when one sees a pseudo devotee addicted to so many forbidden things. Even though they're decorated with signs of a devotee, a person addicted to smoking, drinking, or illegitimate sex with women cannot have above mentioned ecstatic symptoms. But sometimes these symptoms are willfully imitated. So they are called stone-hearted persons. That's why tadashmasaram. These persons are considered to be stone-hearted. But sometimes even genuine kinds of expressions, the Satya Bhava, sometimes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always manifests his 8 symptoms. Whenever he's in ecstasy, all these symptoms will manifest in his body. Tears rolling down, voice faltering, falling down like a big stick, just like that. And then color changing, and arms and legs contorted, shivering, sweating, so many symptoms. But when there are others who are not into this, when in public, when there are others who are not devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to suppress these symptoms. Like, for example, when he was having meeting with Rai Ramananda Prabhu, was the governor of Madras. Rai Ramananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had long conversation. Rai Ramananda is a Vishaga Sakhi only. And in Madhya Leela, in the 8th chapter, you will find conversations between Rai Ramananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that, real symptoms of a devotee is discussed. It is discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 8.23. So the first one is cessation of material desires. The first symptom is cessation of material desires, which is called Shanti. Shanti means cessation of, removal of all the material desires. Then utilizing every moment in transcendental service of Lord. Avyartha kalatvam. Avyartha kalatvam means not wasting any time. This is called avyartha kalatvam. Then eagerness for glorifying Lord constantly. Namagane sadaruchi. Namagane sadaruchi. Then attraction for living in the land of Krishna. Pridis tat vasadistale. Pridis tat vasadistale. Then complete detachment from material happiness, virakti, and pridelessness, mana shunya. So these are the 6 qualities which you develop along with bhava. Then the bhava is steady, becomes fixed, and then proceeds to the prema state. So here, Sri Narada says that his increase, his bhava, his ruchi, increase by every step. Every step. There is no saturation. In material things, after some time, there is a saturation point, and from that you no longer derive the same pleasure. But in case of Harinam, association with Krishna, it is ever increasing. Like in Shashtam, we say Anandambudi Vardhanam. Ananda Ambudi means the sea, ocean. The ocean of bliss, ocean of Ananda, ecstasy, is increasing every step, padam padam. So the idea is, just by listening to pastimes of Lord from the lips of a pure devotee, one can become associates of Lord. One can attain the highest perfection of life. So Sri Narada, to encourage Vedavyasa, is narrating his own experience, so that Vedavyasa can understand what is bhakti all about, and then spread this bhakti culture through his book, which is going to be written now, Srimad Bhagavatam. So the next verse, Tasmin tada labdarujir mahamade priya shavasyaskila damadir mamam yaya Yayaham edat sadasad sumayayam pashyemayi brahmani kalpidam pare. Oh great sage, as soon as I got a taste for personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. So the realization comes. When you understand Krishna, then you understand everything. Yasmin vijnanatam sarvameva vijnanam bhavati. When you understand Krishna, you understand everything. Here, Narada says that his intelligence became very sharp and very steady. Because the intelligence was very steady, he could understand the Sat Asat, gross and subtle bodies. Sat Asat. That covering, the Saul's covering is Sat and Asat, gross and subtle body. Which is this gross and subtle body?
Intelligence and ego is subtle.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, even mind is subtle.
Yes. And which is gross?
The eyes, ears, right?
Panjabodha. It's called
Yeah.
Panjab, gross material body, no?
Mhm.
Made of Panjabodha. Bhumira Ponero Vayu, the ether, this is ether, air,
Oh, yeah.
fire, water, and earth.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called Panjabhuta, 5 elements. So our body, as well as the universe, the worlds, are made of these 5 elements. So this gross body is made of 5 elements. This is called gross body. And subtle elements, like you said, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Along with that, senses is also mentioned. Now, you may see that in the gross body, you have these ears, you have the nose, everything is there, it is manifested. Then how can these senses be in subtle form? Actually, what happens is this nose, these things actually grows only, it's part of growth. It is actually not the senses. The sensor, actually, there's an internal senses same. Internal senses which is surrounding the mind. This is called a subtle sense. The subtle sense, along with the mind, along with the intelligence, along with ego, it is transferred from one body to another. Because when you leave this body, when you die means when this body is gone, then the soul is carried to another body through the subtle body. Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verse number 8 describes it very nicely. 15.8. Shariram yadavapnodi yachhavi ukramada ishware gridedattvani samyami vayur gandha ivashayat. Whenever the jiva accepts or leaves the body, he takes these senses with him in the subtle body, just as air takes fragrances from objects and goes elsewhere. Because senses are required for grasping knowledge. So the senses, along with mind, carries the jiva from one body to another. Just like the example is given, air takes fragrances from objects and goes elsewhere. There's air moves. Sometimes it goes through some gardens. It may have some very nice aroma. And then when the air leaves that place, the air also carries the aroma of these flowers. Same way. So next verse, it is more confirmed in verse number 9. Shrotam chakshus pashanam cha rasanam granam eva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevade. So how the jiva enjoys in the next life? Having gone into a body, what does it do? Taking shelter adhishtaya of the senses such as ear, etc. and also the mind, because the senses are surrounding the mind. He enjoys objects of senses, vishayan, in the next life. So, yes, gross body and subtle. Just mentioning that such senses are also included in the because two senses, gross senses say outside what we see as senses, the eyes, nose, etc. But they are not the real senses. It is inside also, subtle sense. So Narada discovered that this both the coverings, gross covering, this is a gross body, as well as subtle covering, is by Krishna's energy only. Krishna's energy only. But since we are more interested in sense gratification, we forget Krishna. But actually, what we should do is, we have this body, we have this subtle body. These should be utilized for the service of Krishna. Because energy is from Krishna, is Krishna's energy only, and we are also is part of energy. We are the internal potency, and the gross body, these subtle and gross bodies is external energy, internal and external. External is called Bahiranga, internal is called Antaranga. And since they are both Krishna's energy, we should use this energy for the service of Krishna. That is a real understanding. This is called Yukta Vairagya. Suppose we are at a very low level, karmi. We enjoy this body, sense gratification, for our senses. We use this body and the senses for our sense gratification. When we reach a state that this is actually temporary manifestation only, we are not actually this body and soul, body and senses. We are eternal, we are soul. Then what happens is that this Mayavadi know that, okay, this body is very problematic and this is temporary. Because of we are attachment to body and senses only, we are in a what is called a captivated stage. We are bonded because of this association body and senses. So we should get out of this body and senses, and whatever things connected body and senses are rejected, which is called Vairagya. When Vairagya means you develop this Vairagya, renunciation, and you no longer enjoy the body as previously. But the real understanding is that this body, gross body as a subtle body, is also energy of Krishna. So they should be employed for the service of Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada as well as Vishwanath Chakravarti says that the gross body, like hands and arms, can be utilized for washing utensils, cleaning the temples, plucking the flowers, and etc. etc. And this subtle body, mind, intelligence, senses can be used for thinking and glorifying Krishna, etc. etc. So Chaitanya Charitamrita on Adilila 4.165 defines this concept very nicely. It says, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Bali Kama Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Dhare Premanama. If you are interested in gratifying your own senses, Atmendriya Priti Vancha, Vancha means desire. If you are interested in gratifying your own senses, it is called Kama. Tare Bali Kama, it is called Kama. Krishnendriya Priti Vancha, if you are interested in gratifying sense of Krishna, that is called Prema. So Kama and Prema is very nicely defined here. So a person who is a pure devotee, he always uses whatever it is saying in his possession, he uses for the service of Krishna. So when that is, then what happens? Yayaham ezat sadasat swamaya pashe mai brahmani kalpidam pare. See, previously, when we are not devotees, we always used to use our senses for our sense gratification. Now, the same senses, when you are fixing on Krishna, becomes automatically. Previously, it is by default will go to this. Even now, also it is like that. Not say that we are now actually research. No. Even now also, it is for our sense gratification only. We see nice forms, we see something nice, we hear something here nicely, then immediately our senses will try to capture this. But when you are in a rati state, rati means bhava state, rati or bhava, then automatically our senses, intelligence, mind, everything will be automatically following Krishna's own. That is the word here, pashyadi, pashyemai brahmani kalpidam pare. Pashyemai brahmani kalpidam pare. The higher, this is called higher taste. Brahmani is on unto Krishna, which is higher. And pashyadi means we are experiencing. Pashyadi here means experiencing. So Narada says he is experiencing higher taste by hearing the attractive narrations of Krishna and rendering service to Krishna. So this is the 14th stage we have described yesterday, is now the 14 stages, which is Harir Madhurya Anubhava. You have noted it down? You want me to explain?
Yeah, I noted it down.
You noted it?
Yeah, I noted it. Before also you had said it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Second chapter, it comes in second chapter only, so we have done that also.
Yeah.
But here you can see how the develop that 14 stages, how Narada is undergoing these 14 stages. First association, it's a starting association, and then ending in Hare Madhurya Anubhava. So Srimad Bhagavatam, when Acharyas describe this, no, then we have a deeper understanding. When you hear from other persons, they will not go to these details. So Srimad Bhagavatam, all the verses are full of rasas only. And we can reach these rasas only when they are explained very nicely by acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti and Srila Prabhupada. Then we'll develop the taste and we'll not be satisfied with anything else. Somebody else described, we'll not have any taste. And that is our present state at least. Pashyemai Brahmani Kalpidam Pare. Then you recite this verse, no? Then you will develop the taste for verses. When you understand it fully, then you recite the verses, then you can see how meaningful, how deep, and how juicy these verses are. So, because of Bhakti Vedanta Association, Narada could employ his both the gross body as well as subtle senses for the service of Krishna. Itam Sharad Pravikshavo Ruduhare Vishunshavo Navo Measun Anusomya Shomalam Sankirtamanam Munivir Mahatmavi Bhaktir Prabhushatma Rajastabo Mahatamo Baham. Thus, during the 2 seasons, the heavy season, heavy rainy season in autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great salt sages constantly chant unadulterated glories of the Lord. As a flow of my devotion service began, the covering of bones of passion and ignorance vanished. So these 2 months, the 4 months, part of the monsoon season and then autumn season. These 4 months, we can see it's mainly raining all the time, very gloomy weather, darkness prevailing. So it is accepted to be a dark period of the seasons, dark seasons. But we can use these dark seasons exclusively for our devotion service. And then they become bright. So Krishna is compared to a sun and the ignorance as darkness. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakara Yaham Krishna Taham Na Maya Adhigara. Chaitanya Chidambaram. Krishna is this like a sun, bright sun. And Maya or ignorance is darkness. When the Krishna is there, then darkness is expelled. So that is the understanding here. It is the transcendental love is associated, is embedded in the life of our soul. It is with soul because natural attraction for Krishna is there for the soul because Krishna, the soul is natural position, Krishna is Nitya Dasa. So, by nature, in his Swarupa position, the Jiva is always full of love for Krishna. But because of association Maya, his natural position becomes perverted and then he gets attracted to Maya. So how to revive this his natural position? That is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22.107. It's very clearly given is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhyo Kabonaya Shavanadi Shuddha Chitte Kareye Udaya. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is Nitya Siddha, means this always with the Jiva. Nitya Siddha is eternal. It is not a dormant state, that's all. Just because we are not exhibiting Krishna Prema doesn't mean that Krishna Prema is not there. It is there, but it is a dormant state now. Now, how to revive this? Asadhya Kabunaya, it cannot be revived by any external means. It cannot be revived by any external means. It can be revived only with Shavanadi Shuddhaji. Shavanadi. Shavanam Kirtanam Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam Mandanam, Dasim Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are 9 stages. This is called Shavanadi. Adi means beginning with a Shavanam. So the eternal dormant, but now dormant Krishna Prema can be revived only by the process of Shavanadi. And Shavanadi, what happens? Shuddha Chitte, then the heart becomes very pure. In Srimad Bhagavatam, is compared as a dirty canal. When you know small streams are there, sometimes because of impurities, rubbish things, bad things which is being thrown into this canal, it becomes blocked, clogged, and becomes dirty. You cannot clean it nicely. How it becomes clean? When there is a monsoon, heavy monsoon is there, then all these logged and blocked canals and everything will be cleared. Same way, in our heart, there are so many impurities are there. But when the process of Shavanadi, listening, starts, then all these impurities will be removed. So Shavanadi Chitta Shuddhai Karaya Udaya. Then the love, natural love of Krishna will arise. And once it arises, it flows like a river. It cannot be stopped. Same way, association of pure devotees. Similarly, pure devotion service flows from the association of pure devotees and increases more and more without limitation. In his teachings to Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami he instructed in Prayag, Allahabad, and Sanatana Goswami instructed in Kashi. It comes immediately. Madhya Leela 22 and 23 chapters will come. 20 and 22, yes. Around that. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Rupa Goswami, Brahmanda Brahmida, Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade, Paya Bhakti Radha Bija. Brahmanda Brahmida, Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. In the Brahmanda, millions and millions and trillions of jivas are wandering here and there. Brahmana means wandering. Kona Bhagya, out of that very fortunate soul only gets association of Krishna and Guru. Guru Krishna Prasade. And what happens when he is fortunate? He gets the lata, Bhakti Lata Bija. Bhakti Lata means tender shoot of Bhakti. The tender shoot of Bhakti. Bhakti is very, very tender. It has to be protected. Now it is for us, once we get this Bhakti shoot, this Lata, then it is for us to protect it. You have to put a fence around that, like when you are cultivating, growing, trying to grow a very valuable plant. Actually, we'll protect it first by some fencing. Then we put water. Like that, our fencing is our regulatory principles. Then watering is our nama. So when you are keeping away from offenses, the four regulatory principles, and then you are chanting, slowly the bhakti lata will start developing, and then grow and grow and grow and grow, and then pierce the coverings of material universe. Then it will enter the Vaikuntha planets, then go again, go to Golok Vrindavan, and then ultimately rest at the lotus feet of Krishna. This is how Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes. So it increases that such a devotional flow cannot be stopped. It increases without limitation, and so potent. It is so potent that even the onlookers, they may also be, like if you are doing the Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan, and doing the Sankirtan around the streets, then persons who are there, sometimes they may be attracted. There's so many instances, people are attracted by Nagar Sankirtan and then join the movement. So when you are constantly doing the Nagar Sankirtan, chanting, all those things, then these two very bad qualities, Rajogun, Tamogun, will be totally eradicated, totally removed. Then you will be situated in the Shuddha Sattva state, which is equal to Krishna Prema. Thank you very much. Any questions? Right. Vancha Kalpadravascha Prabha Sindhuvevacha.
Vaishnava Namaha and today
Jai.
Srila Asia.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yeah, started reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Have you read that?
No, Prabhuji, I haven't started that.
Started reading that also.